I really wish there were some statistics on how many sellers are out here lowering their prices unnecessarily. I bet if there were data on this topic, I bet it would say something like every zero point 0.3 seconds, some weak behind seller is out here lowering their price, even when the buyer didn't necessarily want it or need it. Okay. Maybe that was a little bit harsh. So I apologize, maybe just a little bit. All right. But in all seriousness, in my last video, I talked about how oftentimes buyers will ghost us, especially when we have put our pricing out there and now the buyer just simply isn't responsive. And far too often, we are going back and just throwing a lower price out there, hoping that we can get some traction on the opportunity. Today, I want to give you three things that I think will help us to learn and understand in the context of pricing so that you can begin to stay truer to the value that you know you and your company deserve. So let's get into it. Number one, first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that you've done a little bit of homework. You got to do your research. First and foremost, you need to understand a little bit about the market and the segment that you operate in. Okay. So, what does this mean? First of all, you need to understand certain elements, such as what is the quality of the service that you provide relative to the quality of other service providers in your arena. Other factors might be like, what kind of options do you offer? What features do you have? Is yours maybe a little bit more customized, or is it more of a commodity type service? Can you deliver your service faster than the competition can? And these sorts of elements are not specific to price. Okay. So please, guys, just a little bit of a side note. I don't want anybody, especially my entrepreneur friends, I don't want us out here thinking that we can compete with Walmart. All right. It is really not a thing for you to be the low cost leader in your niche. So, with that said, I just want you to start thinking about what differentiates your product or service from your competition. And whatever you come up with is totally fine. I am not a marketing person, so this is not me talking about your marketing messaging, but rather understanding at a very baseline or basic level what your product or service is relative to the other million or bazillion options that your buyers have. Okay. So that's number one. Second thing you need to do is once you've come armed with the research or with the understanding, I want you to simply feel confident, decide on a price that you think is a fair price to deliver to your prospect or to your customer, and then feel confident about that number. Okay. So all of this needs to be done well before you present a price to your prospect or customer. Okay. So number two is go in with the confidence that the pricing that you're delivering makes sense relative to what the other service providers, what the other product offerings are, and feel very strongly that when you deliver your pricing, that it is definitely going to be fair. Okay. Now, number three, and this is the most crucial piece in terms of what you're going to be doing. All right. So this step has to come at the right time. All right. So after you've done the research and after you have developed your confidence in the pricing that you're going to deliver, make sure that your prospect or your customer, make sure that they completely understand the offer. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Make sure that your customer understands the things that you now understand. You see, many times we have customers that want our pricing to be the same as some low cost leader, right? So we think, okay, I found this product on Amazon and I should be able to walk into a store and get a very similar product for the same price as what I found on Amazon. Well, guess what? That seller on Amazon may be able to deliver it cheaper because they're selling on Amazon, or maybe something about the components is of lower quality. But this is where you need to be able to articulate what is the difference between their offering and your offering. But okay, so I mentioned timing. The timing comes with the confidence that your customer gets it. Like, they've got to understand what separates you from the competition. And because now you and your customer, or you and your prospect, are aligned in this knowledge or this understanding that your product and your service is substantially different from whatever they could get out there in the market, then when you deliver your price, they should not be balking at it. Okay. So sometimes we do these marketing efforts, like y'all are out there in these streets doing reels and doing all kinds of things to get people interested in the services and the products that you offer. But unfortunately, sometimes your marketing efforts, maybe because of inappropriate messaging, and we will talk about messaging, I promise, at a later date, but perhaps because of the messaging, you have now inadvertently reeled in some prospects whose values are not perfectly aligned with yours. What does that look like? Okay, so it would be something like this. A Mercedes buyer strolls into a Kia dealership, or a Kia buyer strolls into a Mercedes dealership. While you may see some similarities, they're just not the same. As people would say, as the kids would say, they're built different, you know? Okay. So you have to understand that, like, when that type of a mismatch happens, it's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to come to terms on a price. The Mercedes buyer has a certain level of expectation around the price because they've already done some homework on the product or the service that they ultimately want. The Kia buyer, on the other hand, is looking for something that is more value-based. And so they're looking for a much more competitive or compelling or lower price. So what I haven't touched on is, what about the scenarios where we really feel like we need this deal, or we really, really want this deal? Well, let's just say all this time, I've been assuming that your back is not against the wall, that your job is not on the line, that your company is not about to be shuttered. So if none of those things is the case, then I need you to stop acting like it is. I need you to go to market with the confidence that you're selling a good product or a good service, and you're going to deliver it at a fair price. So stand on business with this, okay? Stand on business. You need to have the mindset that this is an exchange of value, and it's your job to articulate that value. If you can't speak to the value of the product or service that you are selling, whether you are a seller for another company or this is your own business, if you can't speak to that, then you need to revert back to item number one and do some more research, and maybe work with a coach. Okay, last thing. Just know that in most industries, there are dozens of companies and services and products available for people to choose from. And as a buyer, we love that. We want options. But as a seller, sometimes we shy away and we wish that there weren't so darn many people to compete with. But competition, this is America, and this is a free market, and the competition is actually a good thing. It should make us better. So if you feel like you're still struggling to deliver your services at a price that makes you feel good inside, then I would strongly encourage you to go back to the drawing board. I'm not saying scrap your product, but I am saying think a little bit more deeply about what exactly it is that you're delivering and the level that you're delivering. Because if people aren't buying it for the price that you want, then something is broken. And we probably should take another look at it. All right. So I hope this helps. Please leave me a comment, ask a question. Tell me about a time when you felt like you needed to lower your price, but you didn't really feel good about it. Tell me whether you won the deal or you didn't win the deal. Ultimately, I just want to be a value to you. So I know that when you like the video and you comment and you subscribe to my channel. All right. So cheers, everybody. Be blessed. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.